We also like to thank Deputies Ash and Handel. Is it Handel? Handel. Okay, gotcha. From the Clay County Sheriff's Office providing security for this evening. My fellow commissioners are to my right, Commissioner Norton, Commissioner Ralph Puckhaber, Commissioner Mary Bridgman, and to my left is Commissioner Michael Beret. Commissioner Anzalon will be late, and Commissioner Bill Garrison. And normally we have a school board representative, Paul Beamet, but he's not here tonight. The Clay County Planning Commission is a citizen advisory board to the Clay County Board of County Commissioners, or the BCC. All planning commissioners are volunteers, residents of Clay County, appointed by the Board of County Commissioners. We serve 2-year terms and must reapply if we wish to continue to serve. The Commission's duties are outlined in Section 163.3174 of the Florida Statutes. We hear applications for comprehensive plan amendments, land development code changes, and rezonings. Most of the decisions made by the Planning Commission are recommendations to the BCC. The BCC will have the final say at their meeting on either the second Tuesday, 1 week from today, or the fourth Tuesday, 3 weeks from today. The BCC meeting starts at 4 p.m. Zoning and land use matters start at 5 p.m. Please check the county website for specifics as far as the agenda. We also welcome the public to the Planning Commission meeting, as citizens' application is the backbone of our republic form of government. Your presence here is important and appreciated. If there's an item on tonight's agenda you wish to speak about or you want to talk about during the open comment period, please fill out one of the comment cards, which can be found in the entry vestibule, and give it to Ms. Blanchette. There's a 3-minute time limit for each comment. Time is kept by the lights on the podium. Red light indicates the time is up. The first item for action by the Commission tonight is approval of the minutes of the February 3rd meeting of the Planning Commission. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. The next item on the agenda is public comment period. At this time, any member of the public may comment on items not included on tonight's agenda, but pertinent to the business of the Planning Commission. I believe I have 2 cards that are marked public comment period. Mr. Chapman and Mr. Deacon. Is it Michael? D-E-A-K-N. Is he here? No? Okay, well, I'll open the public comment period. Michael Chapman, are you here? Okay. I'll close the public comment period, seeing nobody coming forward, and we'll move on.
It might have been the people who left.
Right.
Oh, maybe so.
Oh,
Okay.
yes, I
And-
bet it was.
They're going to, yeah, they want to take it to the BCC.
Christine handed them to me.
Yeah. All right. Okay, the process schedule for the scheduled part of the meeting will be each item on the public hearing agenda will be presented by a member of the Planning and Zoning Department. As part of the presentation, staff will indicate whether they recommend approval of the requested land use, zoning, or land development code change. Next, the applicant will have an opportunity to speak. Following the applicant's presentation, I will open the floor for members of the public to offer their views. Your time is for stating your views, not for asking questions of the applicant, members of the staff, or the commissioners. Your comments are to be directed to the Planning Commission. If you wish to speak during this hearing, you will need to take the oath, which Ms. Blanchette will administer momentarily. If you aren't sure whether you wish to speak, go ahead and take the oath. After staff, the applicant, and the public have all had a chance to state their views, the floor will be closed for public comments, and the applicant will have an opportunity to respond to comments by the public. Then the commissioners will discuss the matter if necessary and render a decision. Again, I thank you and commend you for your participation in this process. Okay. We need Ms. Blanchette.
Are we waiting on the applicant?
We're waiting on Ms. Blanchett.
Oh.
She's got to swear everybody else in. Okay, for anybody that wishes to speak or think they wish to speak during the comment period, please rise and move to the center if you can. Ms. Blanchett will give you the, swear you in.
If you all raise your right hand, do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you for your patience.
All right, the first item on the agenda is public hearing, consider ZON 25-0038. We'll need one vote on this, so, Ms. Carson?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This item, Zone 2538, is scheduled to go before the Board of County Commissioners at their meeting on March 24th, the last meeting of the month. The applicant for this item is Janice Fleet and Associates. She is actually the agent on behalf of the owners, Jackie Carter and Enola Carter. The location of the property is 5408 County Road 218, which is located in the Middleburg Clay Hill area, planning district, and that is in Commission District 4, Commissioner Condon's district. The application is a request to rezone 1.033 acres from BA2, Commercial and Professional Office, to BA, and the proposed use for the property would be for a Dunkin' Donuts. Now, this is located within the Clay Hill Overlay District and would be subject to the requirements of that district. The map on the left is the location of the property. It is located east of County Road 218, just south of the intersection of Mallard and Blue Jay Drive. The aerial on the right shows that it's a vacant parcel. It's also adjacent to another vacant parcel across from a church. The map on the left is the existing zoning. The hatched area is the subject parcel, and it is the same zoning currently as the parcel just north of it. The proposed zoning is the same as what is adjacent to the south. And I've located some of the adjacent zonings on the map on the right on the proposed zoning, so you can see it's kind of a hodgepodge of different zonings in this area. The pink is the church, and the green is AR, which is residential. These are the signs that were posted, and the property owners within 350 feet of the property that we notified regarding the matter. With that, staff finds that the criteria for rezoning the property have been met, and that's been detailed in the staff report that you've been provided. And the Middleburg Clay Hill CAC voted 7-0 to recommend approval. Do you have any questions for me?
Any questions, staff?
I just have one. Ms. Carson, I know that it, in the write-up, it said that, you know, what the buffers and so on would be. There's residential behind this parcel, but it's across the street. Do they have to buffer to that?
It's a private street. They would not. No,
Okay.
it's not immediately adjacent to it.
Well, if it was a public street, would they have to buffer?
No.
Right, because the street, it becomes the buffer, correct?
The street, yes,
Yeah,
it's the
okay.
separator, yes.
That was my only question.
Now, if they had parking that was up against that street, they would have to have landscaping between that parking and the street. But
Okay. Is the applicant here?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Janice Fleet and Associates, 11557 Hidden Harbor Way, Jacksonville, Florida. I'm the applicant, and just for, even though this is a conventional zoning, we do have a proposed site plan that I've seen, and the retention is in the rear, so that will provide a buffer to the residents behind it, and probably more so than the Dollar Tree, if you're familiar with it, is right next door to this property. So it'll have more of a buffer than the existing Dollar Tree that's there. Also, there's an existing Dunkin' in a BP station. I think it's a BP station. And that will, they're going to relocate to this Dunkin'. And they know they have to meet the Clay Hill District. They that was the first thing when I saw this parcel. I said, okay, this is what you gotta meet, and they know they've sent the architecturals to them. They will meet that. Even though, like I said, it's not a PUD. So and it was funny, talk about the neighbors, when I was putting the signs up, the neighbor that actually lives directly behind it drove up. And so I waved to them because, I wanted to see, and they just waved back and said, thank you, nice. So, I mean, I was expecting to have to talk to, to talk to them about it. And obviously would have been very happy to talk to them about it. But they seemed fine with it. And like I said, I had a very positive meeting with the CAC for the area. They were very positive about what we're doing, and I think there's not in that area, and I know Commissioner Garrison has worked on the Clay Hill. This will be one of the first in that area that will meet those standards, which I think is very positive for the development of that area. And also the proposed, which I know will come up through when it goes to Development Review Committee through the DRC, but in looking at the proposed site plan that I have seen, they're going to connect the drive so it's like equal to the church across the street, so it'll be a safe access for either side, so, and have a drive-through. Any questions for you? I can keep going on, but.
I did have a quick one. I think you just answered. I was curious what that PS1 across the street was. That's a church?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Any other questions for the applicant? I got one.
Okay.
I think the regulation calls for an access road come from the rear also. Isn't that true on BA? Yeah. Okay. Well, that's gonna be my question around that, is since it's a private road, would that be an issue if they had to have that? But, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you.
Okay, I'll open the public hearing. I don't have any cards on this item, but does anybody wish to speak to this item? Seeing none, I will close the public comment period and bring it back to the commission for discussion and decision.
Mr. Chair, I'll move the staff report on this one.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you very much. The next item is public hearing, consider comp 260018 and PUD 260010.
Good evening.
Evening.
Here we go. So as you said, these are two paired items. They will be going to the Board of County Commissioners on March 24th. Janice Fleet is also the applicant for this item. The property is at the southwest intersection of County Road 220 and Plantation Drive. This is in Oakleaf, Brandon Ridge District, Commissioner Scarmolo's District 1, and it's one parcel. The comprehensive plan application changes just a portion of this parcel. It's the southern portion, from rural fringe to commercial. And then the PUD, there's an existing, it's actually PCD zoning on the northern part of the parcel, and it's PS1 on the southern portion. And this will bring the PCD zoning over the entire property. So signs were placed, and on the right, you can see the area where the mail-outs went. And on the left is the aerial, and it's in yellow for the subject portion. Now that is just the portion that is covered by the comprehensive plan change, so where the future land use is going to change. That piece of property originally belonged to the church, and the property owner bought it from them and didn't change the zoning, which is why it still has the PS1 zoning on it. And this is the existing on the left, and then the proposed on the right, so providing the commercial over the entire parcel. And for the zoning, you can see that PS1 in pink, which is on that southern boundary, and then the proposed rezoning, which would cover the entire parcel. The existing PCD envisioned a use of a car wash. It's the tunnel type that's popular recently. That would have been on the western side of the property, and a large stormwater retention on that southern portion of the property. The new PCD would be principal use of a convenience store with pumps and then a Dunkin' drive-through. And in this case, access comes in off of 220, but also off of Plantation. And you have the canopy with the gas stations out front, then the convenience store more or less in the middle, and again, the southern portion of the property would be a retention facility. And the driveway, or excuse me, the drive-through enters on the west side of the building, and the drive alley runs along the back of the building, and then exits more or less towards Plantation. The PCD, as it's written, includes a long list of uses. These are, I'm not sure exactly, the applicant will have to tell you which zoning district those come from.
They come
That's
from
kind of a familiar
BA.
one we're all seeing in BA, yeah. In addition, it included the banks and financial institutions with drive-throughs, drive-in restaurants, convenience stores with gas pumps, and then alcohol sales. Restriction of use is the sale and display must be conducted entirely within the building, and products are only sold at retail. The CAC, this is the Oakleaf Brandon Ridge CAC, voted 4-1 to recommend approval of the comprehensive plan change and 5-0 to recommend approval of the PUD change. Staff has looked at the criteria for both the comprehensive plan and the rezoning and recommends approval of both items. And I am here to answer any questions.
Any questions, staff?
I have a question, but I think the applicant might want to answer it too. I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit, Dodie. I'm sorry, because this predates you.
Okay,
But this parcel was originally Zone BA.
okay, yeah,
And when they wanted to put the car wash on there,
Mhm.
they came in and did a PCD to add the car wash. And as you said, basically it's BA with a car wash. That's what this is if you go through it. It seems they no longer want the car wash. So I think the question I'm going to have is, why is this a PCD? Because it appears they could do all the uses they want with straight BA zoning. So I think the question is, a PCD is supposed to present us with something better, enhanced. And other than the site plan, which we'll get, I don't see why this isn't BA. So that's kind of the question I want to get answered. And I don't know if you know, the applicant can respond to that.
yeah.
But I don't understand why it's a PCD other than the fact we're going to get a site plan. That's the only thing we're getting. We're not, I don't see that we're getting anything enhanced here. And I'll make the comment, so again, so the applicant, when she speaks, is if in fact they want to stay with the PCD, then why do we need all those other uses in there? Let's talk about the uses we need for the PCD and get rid of the rest of them. So those are some of the things that are in my head about this one. Let's hear from everybody and see where that goes.
Any other questions, staff? I've got a couple. On one of your slides there, it shows, you know, where rural fringe is and all that stuff. But this add-on down in the south side, that appears to be encroaching into the residential area. Would this be considered as encroachment into residential zoning classifications? I mean, it's got residential to the east, to the west, and to the south, part of the rural fringe.
Yes, it's rural fringe future land use, but it's PS1, which is the church. They own all of that pink parcel. to the south. That portion of the property was the church's and then was
Yeah.
purchased by them, this parcel. So it's not encroachment because they already own that piece. You know, it's a consolidation of, you know, one land use and one zoning on the parcel, trying to eliminate the split.
I have
Okay.
one other question when you're done, Pete.
That kind of leads me to another question, and why was, if that was part of the original parcel, why was not the BA zoning for the whole parcel instead of just the northern portion of it?
I don't know why,
I know,
why it was
I
done
know
that
you
way.
don't, I'm just
yeah.
throwing that out there.
I can tell you why if you look at the map, and I think,
Well, that road is not that's not a major road, that's just a,
yeah, but if you look, when they did, when the comp plan was originally done back in 92, a lot of places, and you'll see it if you put the map up there, they basically went so many feet off the highway and drew a line and said, this is commercial and this is not. And in many cases, and we've seen many of them, they split lots in half when they did that. So it didn't follow, the commercial didn't, you know, jog along and follow the existing lots. It just drew a line at 200 feet and said, that's your
I
commercial.
remember that, yeah.
So that's how you end up with this kind of thing. And that church that's on that property sits way back down that property.
It
It's
is
not even
the
close to that end of it.
Northern portion of it is parking, I guess.
Yeah, it's
Alright.
open.
Yes.
There's nothing there really.
Okay, any other questions, staff? Applicant?
Virginia Fleet again. Fleet and Associates Architects Planners, 11557 Hidden Harbor Way, Jacksonville. So I'll address some of your questions, not to reiterate Dodi's great presentation. So my client who does Duncan's, the other one as well, he's developing, purchase or is in the process of purchasing it. And it's one parcel now. It might have been two parcels. I'm not sure if they bought it from the church, but it was previous to, I think it was with the previous owner. He purchased a parcel, and then in the previous PCD for the car wash, they maintained the land use, even though the retention for, if you look at the site plan for the previous car wash, was in that rural fringe area. So it was the retention area. So I guess technically they felt, I mean, Dodi, you want to, yeah, okay. So you can see that that is in the rural fringe area, but they didn't, in the previous PCD, even though it was a unified plan and that unified parcel, they did not include it in the future land use amendment at that time. This time when I started this process, and we were told to go PCD to PCD. I can understand your concerns, your comments, and to do the land use change to make it all consistent. That's, so we were going along staff's recommendation is what they felt. Now maybe if, you know, the thought of going back to BA, you know, I don't know if it came up with staff, you know, in conversations. The reason I added additional uses, which, you know, we're basically doing a Dunkin' Donut drive-through, is even though the site plan is tied, the PCD is tied both to the site plan and written description, sometimes things change and then you don't have that use. You might use the same building, but there's another use, you know, 5 years down the road that would be appropriate. And I didn't think when I did the written description that they were negative to the area. If they were, on other previous PUDs that I've come before you, or PCD or PIDs, I would limit it to, you know, kind of the good things of a particular zoning category. I did think I limited, you know, to some of the, not everything that's allowed in PA, but that was my reason for all those other uses in case, you know, the convenience store doesn't make it and they want to put some other retail establishment. That's really it, but sticking to the same site plan. And now obviously if they were going to change the site and do a different site plan, they would have to come before you with a PCD, again, PCD zoning. So that's kind of why we're here. And so in this layout. So, I mean, I understand your concerns. I'm not arguing with you because this is what we worked under. Because it is kind of a one use, and maybe it's, the only is, the question, I would assume the last PCD is because to get the car wash, you have to be a higher zoning than BA. So maybe that's why they did it the last time and just continued it on. And Dodie got thrown into this towards the end, so it was a previous, and I had done with Ms. Brayley when we originally started dealing with this, so.
Any questions of the applicant?
I do. Ms. Fleet, you really didn't answer the big question that I have,
Okay.
which is, when we do a PCD, it's supposed to create something better than we can do with regular zoning. It's supposed to enhance it somehow. Other than the fact we're getting a site plan, what else are we getting from the PCD?
Well, I think the benefit, if you go to the site plan, is the way, it is a site plan, but because of the PCD, we're being better buffers in the respect that we have the retention at the southern end, which is better as a buffer between that and the church. With the drives, I mean, you're knowing up front, the drives are equal to the McDonald's next door to us to make that easier. The right in, right out. It's not to say that DRC might not require these same requirements, but this way it's part of the ordinance, the law, that it has to be developed that way. So you are getting that. You're seeing this up front. And it's talking to some of going to the CACs that I've gone to recently, I mean, over the time, they like seeing it. So this is, I think that's the key, is that it does allow for making sure that we are doing these things that are needed. And that was one of the things that CIC, we talked to the CAC, the group, I can't think of the one that does this area, at least you know what it's going to lay, and where the layout is what it's going to be with the buffers towards the back. They could have done buffers on the side or different things like that if it was not that way, so.
Question, can I that I just do want to point out that I compared them, I looked at this. The permitted uses are word for word what's out of BA, word for word. Restrictions are word for word. The only thing that's missing are the conditional uses that are available in BA. They're not part of this application. So I guess, again, my question would be why we have all those extra uses in a PCD, and I'll let it go at that.
Yeah, I mean, we could, I mean, sometimes we limit it, as, like I said, that was my reason for doing it. I did limit the conditional uses. I do, whenever I create a PCD I try to mirror as much as I can to the current, to the comparable zoning. So there is those limitations. So there's an intent to match it, not to increase it, is the best way of saying it. That's the way I look at it. I'm not saying that, because if I don't like to go down, I guess, or up a zoning class if it's not needed. But, and I go back and forth whether I should include or the problem is when you do a PCD and limit it just to the use, i.e. the problem they did with the car wash, you're limited only to doing a car wash. And if something were to happen in the future, you're stuck.
So, but that's exactly
Kind of the
point.
idea, right?
So, I mean, I appreciate that Ralph caught this, and I agree. It's like, pick one or the other, and the whole concept of the PCD was to lock people in to a particular use. So, yeah, I would agree.
I mean,
And frankly, have always been a fan of PCDs because it does lock people in, and were it not for that, you wouldn't be back here asking for another change. So that's the whole purpose of it, a check and balance, if you will.
yeah, and I mean, I love PUDs, PCDs, because exactly that's what you can do. So that's the only reason I add some additional uses. I mean, we can take them out because obviously if this project goes, it's going to be a Dunkin' with a convenience store and gas pumps.
And if it needs to be something else 5 years
They
from now,
can
then
come.
they just come back here and ask for it. And
Yeah.
I'm in favor of the project. I have no problem with the
Right.
project. But I do think it's a good idea to be disciplined to the process, I think is the way I would say it.
Okay.
I want to can I point one other thing out that I think is missing in here? And you're going to hear me say this over and over, it's one of my things. I really didn't see any lighting restrictions in this.
I think we are, the lighting, the Lake Asbury lighting was,
I didn't read it, I must have missed
it was in the
Does
written
it say-
description.
Does it say Lake Asbury lighting?
Yes.
Okay,
I'm-
fine, thank you.
Yes, that is included. Yes, sir.
Okay, real quick, question to staff, is this site plan part of the application?
Part of the ordinance.
Yes, yes.
So it's
the
attached
site
to the
plan.
ordinance?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
It's in-
and you
so-
realize if you change that, you gotta come back and see us again.
Understand 100%. That's why the uses are not as important as, I guess, the site plan from a planning perspective, because if we do anything that doesn't have that square, and if we want to move it, we would have to come back with you as a site plan, correct? It just allows some flexibility in the building if there were something else, so that you don't have a vacant convenience store that wants to be dry cleaners or something like that.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
I'm going to open the public hearing. I don't have any cards on this. Does anybody wish to speak to this agenda item? Seeing no one, I'm going to close the public hearing, bring it back to the commission for recommendation and decision.
Mr. Chair, there's two items we're looking at here. One is the land use. I don't think there's any issue with the land use. You're kind of unifying the lot. We do that often. And I've already kind of had my say about the PUD. I kind of with Mr. Garrison. I don't have an issue with what you're trying to do or the site plan. I don't like this big paragraph of additional uses. So when we get to the PCD, I'll tell you now, I'm going to vote no on that. But if you clean this up by the time it gets to the BCC, you may have, because it'll be in the minutes. It's not that I don't support the project. I don't care for this giant list of uses that are attached to it. The whole idea with the PCD is, as Mr. Garrison said, is to be more specific, not less specific. And I've been on this commission for some years, and I will tell you, every time I see one of these with this list of uses in a PCD, I don't like it. It's not really the purpose of a PCD, or in the case of residential, a PUD. That's not, the purpose is not to come and say, because this is what the previous applicant did. They came in and said, we want BA, but in addition to BA, we want to put a car wash here. That's why you ended up with this crazy PCD, and I think I voted no on it when it came through last time, so.
Can we amend this? Can they amend it now?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I don't have a problem because it is a PUD, and if in your recommendation, you recommend to take out that, list of uses as part of your recommendation as you move on the PCD.
That's my opinion. There's
I
other
understand.
people
I'm
here
just,
that have their opinion.
okay, I'm just telling the
Okay.
board if they want to do that, we would not have a problem. We want to do a convenience store with a drive-through restaurant, so I'm just.
Mr. Chair, if I may. Janice, good evening. I'm just going to ask a question. I know we're moving it back to the commission, but are you sure that you don't want to relook at your PCD piece and do straight zoning, so you don't limit? If you do straight zoning, then you have all the uses available, and your client or customer has those straight uses available for the zoning, as opposed to the PCD, which, if in fact it does get modified, is going to limit. I just want to make sure that that's the direction that you want to go.
We're going the structures, that was the direction of staff, so to have to go backwards, I would think we would have to kind of start over again. So you know.
For that piece you would, not, I mean, if the other piece passes and then it passes, but.
Right, but, so I think, because we'd have to go backwards and go through the whole process again, so he's fine with it. That's, because that's what we were told we'd had to move forward. I understand and that would, because my client builds Dunkin's. So, so he wouldn't, if he doesn't care if for some reason it doesn't make it, he would not, you know, that's what he's building.
Okay, I mean, I
So-
agree.
And he's pretty far on the site plan and things
I
like that.
agree with my fellow commissioners, a PCD is supposed to be very specific. So what I'm getting at is if that's the direction you want to go down, then I would agree, we need to narrow it down significantly.
And that's why I made that comment to Commissioner.
But the straight zoning allows more uses,
Yeah,
is my
and-
point. So
and
if that's not the route, then that's.
Yeah,
you
my
answered
client
question.
does not want to open it up. He's very specific on what he's doing. So if we need to, that's why I said if in your recommendation, you want to limit the uses, we don't have a problem with that.
Okay, thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? We need a recommendation for the comp 260018.
Mr. Chair, I'll move the staff report on the comp plan portion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Okay, we need a motion on PUD 260010 for the zoning.
Mr. Chair, before we do a motion on that one, I think we have two ways we can go here. One is, as it is, you know, we've already kind of said, we like the idea, we don't like the list, or we can support it with a recommendation that the uses permitted be removed, except for the ones that they need for their project.
I would support the second one so that it moves forward. I
Okay.
like the idea, the concept's great, it's a good
Yeah.
location for it. But I just wouldn't be able to support
Yeah.
everything that's listed.
Yeah. Right. So, Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we support the zoning change to PCD with the removal of any uses not relevant to this particular project for which we have the site plan. And I think that's it.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? No discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you very much. Item 3 on the agenda is consider public hearing, consider PUD 250009 for
Thank you, Mr.
2.46 acres.
Yep, thank you, Mr. Chair. This item came before you at your last meeting in January, and like the item we just heard, it had a long list of proposed uses for the PCD. And at that meeting, the agent for the applicant offered to amend that list, and it was decided also, they requested a continuance to this meeting. I will pitch it to them. I don't have any presentation per se from them for a new plan, so I will pitch it to them for that discussion. But there are members of the community that would like to speak on that during a public hearing period, and they've asked that I bring up the site plan that was presented last time, which may be helpful in the discussion of you know, what they want to present and for the agent to learn more what the community is concerned with. So if you don't mind, I'd like to pull that up while you're listening to the agent.
Okay.
Kelly Hartwig is the agent here.
The applicant?
Kelly Hartwig, 3420 Wall Road, Green Cove Springs. We have done some preliminary, well, not preliminary, we've taken a lot of the comments that we got from the board and we started renovating the site plan in earnest. We also got a lot more data on the property. We're just not ready to present a modified thing. We want to run it through staff. We want to change the wording staff. I just need a little bit more time. So my goal.
Hang on a second.
Sorry.
Yeah,
My goal was to just ask for another continuance for 30 days. Didn't know the people were going to be here. This actually is going to help because I met with them, well, I talked to them just for the meeting. Now we'll hear some of the comments that we haven't heard before. Maybe we can address some of their comments during this extra time that we were requesting.
so So you're requesting an
I think a
continuation?
continuation until the next meeting, or either 2 months, you know, which I'll come back next month if I can't get it, but I think I can get it done by the next meeting. I really do.
Okay. All right. Any questions to the applicant?
The only one I would have is a month gonna be enough? Because
think
we
so.
can continue it. We do have a policy that will only allow six continuances, I think, so.
It's 3, but don't.
Was it 3? We limited them because we had a problem one time with just over and over, so.
Right.
If you want 2 months, that's fine, just, we're gonna limit it at some point,
I'd take the 2 months.
okay?
That way I know I'll be ready and I have a chance to meet with the neighbors and hear any of their comment. Because I'm a firm believer, I live here, I want it to be something everybody can live with. Okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so Mr. Chair, after
no.
we hear the public comments, I
Yeah.
have some I probably want to add myself that the applicant might want to hear.
Okay. I'm going to open public hearing. I have 3 cards on this. Joan Baisley, is that correct? Okay. And then Eddie Knight after that. Could you please give us your name and address and who you are?
Commissioners, thank you for having us be able to speak. My name is Joan Baisley. My address is 3144 Baisley Road, Green Cove Springs, Florida. I am a resident down the road from the applicant's request, and I want to say that my husband and I moved here in 1966. Highway 17 was 2-lane at that time. We were gone for about 4 years, came back in 1972, and Highway 17 was 4-laned. And we have progress. We call it progress when we get more people here. So as staff has been very helpful on pulling up some information, because I'm going on recollection. That property that's being requested for changes in zoning at one time was agricultural. Probably the whole county was agriculture. But a portion of it was sold to the state of Florida, and I imagine that probably had to do with the 4-laning of Highway 17. In addition to that, later on, the property was sold to Little Champ. And I don't recall if they were the ones that put in the kangaroo station. Is it still working? The kangaroo station, but there was a request for having a kangaroo station, gas station. And all of us who were there, which were probably 1/4 of the folks that are there now, said, no, we don't want that intense use. And so we talked back and forth with the commissioners and zoning, and it was agreed verbally. I thought that it went actually into some sort of public record, but it wasn't attached to the property, to the legal description. So, am I out of time?
No, go ahead.
So anyway, what we all decided was, the owner of the property is entitled to use the land to the best of his ability and profit from it. So we decided, okay, have the gas station, but we need to have a buffer behind it. And there was language that was written years ago that essentially agreed with just what we wanted and leave a natural buffer. At that time, I think it was 100 feet, and that went along 209. And so then the use changed. Well, across the street, what happened was the racetrack put an application in, they built a gas station, and basically this gas station, which I think had maybe 4 pumps, couldn't compete. And so it closed and it sold out. Well, the current applicant is asking for use that is much more intense than we feel is reasonable, and we feel there are several issues. One is the safety in the area, the increased traffic if they open up and get rid of that buffer, which was also a request to put an access to 209. And the folks that come down 209 right now off of 17 are just flying through there, and it's just waiting for an accident. The other thing is there's a bus stop at the corner there. Children are out there, and you're, again, presenting a safety issue. Plus, we feel like it is a decline of the use for our neighborhood. It's just opening up for people who are, anybody on Highway 17, they're free to travel, but some of them are not the people that we want to have them visit our neighborhood. So we are really opposed to the plan as it exists today. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Baisley.
And
No, no.
Ken, what street did she live on?
Uh,
Paisley.
Yeah,
Paisley.
no,
It's a private road off of Bahama Bluff Road.
Okay, thank you.
And Bahama Bluff Road, I think, was added in when the state first bought that property. And it might have even been dirt when we first bought the property. I don't remember.
okay. Thank you, Ms. Baisley. Mr. Knight?
My name is Eddie Knight. I live at 1394 Bahama Bluff Road, and I'm going to read mine, so bear with me. I'm here to express my concerns for zoning application number 250009 that is seeking major business expansion on County Road 209 and Bahama Bluff Road from BB5 to PCD that will adversely affect many long-established neighborhoods of historical significance in Clay County. This area is historically the old Highway 17. Thank you. And should be treated with cultural dignity, logic, and respect free of commercial expansion. One of the oldest cemeteries in the state of Florida is located off County Road 209, less than a mile from this proposed commercial site. The proposed plan is to expand this commercial site will adversely affect many long-established and historical neighborhoods that include Bahama Bluff, Magnolia Point, Riviera Estates, Blackman and River Road, Five Oaks, Virginia Lane, and Pleasant Point. It will significantly increase traffic, commercial noise, light pollution, and a possible increase in neighborhood crime. County Road 209 is one of the last non-commercial roads in Clay County. And all my notes here about the buffer zone, if you have the proposed ingress and egress on Highway 209, then you can't have a continuous buffer zone. We asked you to keep the expansion or anything on the business side of the property, which is Highway 17. We asked you to keep business and structures out of this historical family neighborhood. We urge you to deny any proposal that will change the structure and footprint of County Road 209 in these family neighborhoods. The business chose to close off an existing maintained access on Bahama Bluff Road and Highway 17. There is presently a new traffic light that is under construction off Bahama Bluff Road that could be used. This, along with the present front of Highway 17, is more than adequate and sufficient for this entire business parcel. We simply ask as a long-standing Clay County citizens to be spared this invasion and major change to the many homes, families, and citizens. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Knight. Kathy Knight?
Knight, 1394 Bahama Bluff Road, Green Cove.
Can you move the mic over closer to you and a little up? There you go.
Better?
Thank you.
I received, as y'all have, I'm sure, the perimeter buffer C and this other information. I know you have this. It's to protect us. And I'm reading here 100 feet, 75 feet, 25 feet. I'm not telling you anything new. But I think that y'all need to stick to this because 209, like my husband just said, is the residential side. And I just want to throw this in at you too. I talked to my cousin. They said that we could use her name. Her name is Martha Harris. She lives on Bahama Bluff Road, fourth generation family lives there for 60-something years. And I could go on. There's another gentleman, I won't name names, got a nest in, lived in their house 63 years. We're the new kids on the blocks, 23 years. I would hope that you would respect the citizens more and what we want, especially those long-standing ones that have been living here for 60 years and 40 years and even me at 20-something years, before you say yes to this. So I'm asking you to just say no. Just say no. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Knight. Dorothy Gilliland. I hope I didn't butcher that too bad.
Thank you, sir.
There you go.
Gilliland. I am new to the neighborhood and only 2 years, and I live I'm the first house on 1449 Mahama Bluff. And I'm very concerned because I am the first house. And when we built the house, I had to come before you. And the buffer was expressed to have that buffer on the side of my house. So I just feel that it's going to be very congested because there's a lot of traffic there. And the people that go on 209 are very fast. And it's only supposed to be like 25.
Can you,
I'm sorry.
there you go.
Oh,
That's all right.
I'm trying to avoid
You're
it,
trying
I
to see
guess.
us and talk to you, I understand.
But anyway, I am against it. And I love the restaurant, and it's only a block away from me, but I just feel like more buildings there is going to cause more congestion and more people coming down the road. This is my daughter. I live on her property. So I have a mother-in-law house, and I love it.
And that's part of the problem that we have. We're residential, and you require us to have the 30-foot buffer in front of our property, which we wanted that buffer there anyways. Clay County Electric decided to come and cut most of it down and exposed us. That then required us to put up a fence to try to keep out the homeless that are across the street. But yes, we're against it mainly because of the ingress and egress on 209 and the reduction of the buffer. Right now, we can't see the restaurant. We can smell it. Smells great, but can't see it and would like to keep it that way.
Okay, thank you. Could you give us your name and address, please?
Sure, Melissa Alex, 1449 Mahama Bluff Road.
Okay, and would you, I'm trying to stay ahead of
I'll
our
fill it
clerk
out.
here. Would you fill out one of those also?
Sure.
All right, thank you very much. Is there any other body that wants to speak on this agenda item? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the commission for further discussion.
Mr. Chair, I just wanted to disclose that I received an email from Mr. Knight, and I believe some of the other commissioners might have. I think maybe Mr. Garrison did, but I read it, reflected the same views that he expressed tonight, that I wanted to share that I had received that and read it.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
Mr. Chair, I know that a couple of the commissioners weren't here last month, and I know that the applicant is asking for a continuation, and I honestly think that's a good idea. Hopefully he's heard from, because what I heard just now was some of the things, the buffers, so maybe a site redesign might be looking at, because US 17 is a business highway. It seems not to be that part of it that's the problem, but maybe the design of the site, a little bit more of an issue. On my own reading of the application from last month and so on, I found a couple of things that were really lacking in this plan that concerned me. Number one was lighting. I brought it up earlier. I think at a minimum, Lake Asbury lighting standards need to be part of this. That'll help keep the light away from the neighbors and on their own property. the uses that are proposed, don't know that I have any real issue with the uses that are proposed, but the parking is very limited. And if you're going to try, I don't know what the term is, Beth, we use where we overlap the parking for day and night uses, overlapping parking.
Shared parking.
Shared parking. If you're gonna use shared parking, you have to be more specific about what percentage of businesses you're going to allow in there that are daytime versus nighttime. Because if you say, well, we wanna let restaurants in there, and you don't limit it, then is there enough parking if all those restaurants are open at the same time? Maybe not. You know, I haven't seen the site plan. Same thing if you say we're gonna put businesses in there, same problem with the daytime parking, there may not be enough spaces. So you need to look at, okay, we're gonna make a certain percentage of it nighttime uses and a certain percentage daytime uses to ensure the shared parking is in fact adequate for whatever you put on that site. We already talked about the buffers and the lighting, which were kind of the main things that I wanted to bring up at this time. But I would like to make one comment, if I might, just to the audience. That property is currently zoned BB5. You might want to look in the land code and see what BB5 allows today and base some of your considerations in dealing with this. Right now, use is permitted: bowling alleys, skating rinks, theaters, miniature golf course, dance hall, nightclubs, bars, taverns, establishments with alcoholic beverages for on-premise, go-kart tracks, tennis courts, pickleball courts, climbing walls, paintball, volleyball, boat and paddleboard rental, zip line. And those are the ones that are permitted, and restaurants, including selling liquor, which is what's there today. Those aren't even conditional uses. Those are come and get a building permit and put them up. So they have a lot of flexibility with this property already. And what we're looking for, I think, is the best outcome possible. So that's all.
I just have a comment if I could. I wanted to take a second to thank the community that came tonight. It's nice to have a meeting where everybody's respectful, speaks very succinctly and has a very clear direction, but everybody was very respectful. And this is the way our government works. Everybody has a voice, everybody comes in and talks and shares their views, their opinions, their concerns, and then decisions are made. And so I just wanted to thank all the community members for coming in and sharing your thoughts. With that, I'm happy to support the continuance for 2 months.
You need a motion, are we ready?
1 second, I do have one comment, mostly to the applicant, and that is, work with the residents, because they voiced their concerns and stuff like that, but, I understand you're trying to maximize your return on your investment, but this looks awful busy. I mean, I don't know where you're gonna put people. If you put businesses in there that are highly utilized, which is, I'm sure that's what you would like, I don't think the shared parking is going to work. I think you need to, I can't tell you what to do, but I think I would tone this down a little bit, if nothing else. But buffering is one thing. 209 is a racetrack, I agree with that. It's like they come off of 17 as a decel lane going into an airport. But that's not your fault. That's the way it's designed. We just got to get better protection for the residents and the kids. And with that, I will tend a motion for continuance, and we'll go from there.
Mr. Chair, I'll move this item for continuance for 2 months, which would be to the May. Anybody got the date for me? May?
We have a motion to have a second?
Wait, I gotta
He's
finish.
trying to get the date.
I need the date.
Okay.
May 5th? Mr. Chair, I move this item to be continued to our meeting on May 5th or soon thereafter as it can be heard.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion, second. Any further discussion?
I just would like to have a quick question about the 100-foot buffer, 75-foot buffer. Where did that come from?
So the Kites reached out to me because they believe that there was some documentation somewhere in the past that referred to that buffer. I did not find anything in my search, and I don't think they have either, certainly. So what our team has shared with them is our current landscape code, the buffers. The C buffer is really for industrial.
Yeah.
That would not be applicable. So if they had any parking that butted up to that road 209, they would have to have a 15-foot buffer. If they don't have any parking, there's no requirement for a buffer. But that would be something that, being a PCD, obviously it would be nice to go above and beyond. That's what we always talk about. And that perhaps would be something the
Perfect case
applicant
for the
could.
PCD, exactly. But I just wanted to make, a 100-foot buffer would be
A lot.
Yeah, we do not have any policy, and we haven't found any deed restriction or anything that
great.
said that.
It's
On one
bigger
hand,
than a
but
lot
you
of
can't do it.
right-of-ways.
Right,
Right,
right. Okay, that was it. Thank you very much.
thank you.
Okay. Ready?
Yep.
All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you all very much, and this has to go to the BCC, right, too?
Not yet.
No, it
We
comes back to
Oh,
continued
okay, it stops here. All right. See you all in 2 months. We have one other agenda item here. I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Puckhaber.
Okay.
Let's talk about excessive lighting.
Yeah, I just want to bring this up. I thought that Bill's presentation about some of the problems on 218 was very interesting. And, you know, I agree with everything that he said. I myself have some, and you guys have heard it over and over again, I'm a dark sky guy. But I think it's necessary that we at least try to deal with lighting in a positive way. I think we've done so some in the Brandon Field. We've certainly done so in Lake Asbury. Lake Asbury I like better because it actually has some objective measurements in it. It doesn't say things like excessive light. It actually talks about light measurements and what they can be and so on, which is better because you can't, it's hard to regulate or enforce subjective stuff. It's got to be more objective if you're going to do that. So with that, I just took some pictures of what I consider to be a really bad offender, just to show you how bad I think it can get if we don't do something. So Beth, can you do my PowerPoint? I don't see it up. I thought I saw it a second ago, first slide. Beth, are we waiting on something? Oh, okay. Oh, there it is. Okay. So we start off, this is the parcel that I'm gonna just use it as an example. It's a small convenience store. It's an old convenience store. It was built originally as a gate gas station back in '75, long before the comp plan existed. But it's an old convenience store. It's not very large. The whole parcel is 125 by 175 feet. And as you can see, it's the convenience store, and there's that little canopy out there is a two pump gas canopy. That's all that's on this property. So go ahead, next one. These are some pictures I took at it. This would be looking at the side of the building. No, this is the back of the building, I'm sorry. Across the back of the building, there are 5 lights on that little building, across the back of that building. And they're not aimed down, they're aimed out. Look how much it's lighting up the place next door. Now, this is commercial, so that's, you know, it's not necessary, but it's not as egregious. We'll get to it again, but you see the gas canopy? There are 7 lights on that gas canopy. 7 lights. There's 4 underneath the canopy and 7 on the top. And the ones on the top are clearly pointing out. I'll go to the next one. This is the side of the shop where you can see the back, and on the side, we've got 3 lots, 3 lights. These are not like par floodlights. These are very high intensity lights. There's 3 of them pointed out into there. Go ahead, Beth. Skip that one, we already did that one. That's the gas canopy. You can see there's 4 lights underneath it, and then there's more around the top. Notice across the street is residential. Next one. This was just to give you an idea. You see there's a light pole on the corner of that property too that's got, there's 3 lights on that. It looks like 2 in this picture, but 2 of them are so close together, it's actually 3. Go to the next one. This is just a shot where you can kind of see the front of the building a little, the light pole I just talked about, the canopy, the next one. And one of them's actually burned out right now on that gas canopy. It's not working. Go to the next one. All right, this is the front of the building. I can count for you, but on the front of that building, this is not a Wawa. This is a little old convenience store. On the front of that building, there are 10 lights on the front of that building. 10. And then on the side there that you can see, there's 3 down that side. And right on the edge of the picture, you'll see the roof of the adjacent building, which is commercial. So they got 3 lights in a space that's probably at the most 8 feet wide there, lighting that up. Not to mention that there's a lot of other code problems with this place, but go ahead into the next one. That's just the canopy again, but in this case, there's another light pole out there you see kind of in the back a little bit. That has, it looks like one big light, but it's actually 5 lights. 5 separate lights in one fixture coming off that one. Next one. These are the houses across the street, and I took these pictures at night. These people have to feel like they're living next to a prison yard. You can't really see it well in this picture.
Is that rolled aluminum in the windows?
Yeah, they're trying to block this. These lights are on all night long, and they're trying to live in these houses. They got aluminum, they got cardboard, they got all kinds of stuff in these windows to try to stop the light. Go to the next one, Beth. That's just a little close-up where that's 5 lights on top of that sign facing the parking lot. It's in.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to jump in. So is I don't know if that's a BP station, whatever that is on the other side of the road, does that conform?
Pretty much. He's
Yeah, it looks
mostly
like it
using
does.
the downlighting. I was going to point that out. You'll notice it mainly just lights up his pump areas and stuff. He's got lights under the canopy, but he doesn't have any lights shining out anywhere. You know? Go ahead, Beth. There's a better picture of it, Mike. That's not bad. That's kind of typical for a gas station. You can see all those lights are shielded from going out. They mostly go down. It's very bright at the pumps, but it's not, even on the sidewalk, it's not that bright. Next one. This is a business that, just to the right of this, if you were there, or the houses we just looked at, this is a business that sits on a little triangular shape of land. Look at their lighting scheme. That's not a bad lighting scheme. There's not a light shining all over the place. The reason the ground is all lit up is from the gas station, not from this place. This is very subdued nighttime lighting, yet it's plenty adequate. Next one. This is just another building in the neighborhood where there's a lot of light in the parking lot, but it doesn't go anywhere else. You can see the light they have on. All the lights are kind of shining down, and the pole light is kind of a down light. Next one, Beth. That's just another picture of it. Next. This is another gas station. This is an old gas station right down the street, and even they are mainly using canopy lights.
That's the one with the Italian restaurant to the right, right?
Oh, you know.
Yeah,
Yes.
Valentino. That's good, yeah.
Yeah. But that's the one, yeah, that's the one right next to Valentina's that again seems to try to keep most of their light down on their property. Next one, Beth. And this was just something I threw in. I mean, this is what we look like from space at night. Why are people so afraid of the dark? I just don't get it. But with all that said, I just wanted to show you the pictures because On that one little store, they have 6 lights on the back of the building, 3 on the east side of the building, 3 on the west side of the building, 10 on the front of the building, 4 under the gas canopy, 7 on the top of the gas canopy, 3 on a light pole, 3 on another light pole, and 5 on the gas sign pole. That's 44 high-intensity lights on this little piece of property. It's crazy. And it's under BA zoning, grandfathered in. And if you look at BA zoning under lighting, this is what the requirement is. Artificial lighting used to illuminate the premises and/or advertising shall be directed away from adjacent residential or ag property. That's pretty weak, but they're not even compliant with that.
So is that a code enforcement issue?
It would probably be, I don't, other than the lights that are shining on the houses, I don't even think it's code enforcement. I don't think our code says anything about how much lighting you can have on a piece of property unless you're in Lake Asbury or Brandonfield.
I don't think it does necessarily either, but there is some concern about safety for the road, because obviously it's lighting up and a distraction at that intersection with College and Peoria.
Yeah.
So I think we can take a look at it and see what we can do.
Yeah, but I bring this up just because it's very, it's Bill, like Bill used to have, what's that, the landing strip out there, the Kangaroo that used to be? I think they fixed some of their lighting, I'm not sure. It's still bad? Yeah.
It hasn't changed.
Yeah. In Orange Park, they built I don't remember what kind of gas station, I think it was a Speedway, and they had a lot of light. They had these bubble covers with light going everywhere. And it didn't take too long before Orange Park told them, and they made them put down lighting under their canopy. It's way better now. But this is just lights on the building. I mean, honestly, you have to go by there at night when it's dark. You think you're in a prison yard.
So Beth, the question I have is, from a nuisance perspective for the houses, is there anything in the codes that would can be used to take that off the houses to where they have a right, but they don't have to put up with this?
You need to turn your mic on.
Not in our general code. We have it in the Brandonfield master plan, Lake Asbury master plan, and Dodie specifically reviews for this, and typically she will put the comment, because we don't have it applicable to the rest of the county, we put it in, a lighting plan is required, but we put in the recommendation that it meet the Lake Asbury standards because we can't hold them to it.
Right.
That is something that we do want to amend in the code at some point, but we don't have it now. But I would think if it is a safety concern with the road, I would think we would have the basis to be able to do some code enforcement, or at least go out there and talk with them and say, you're
Well,
safety hazard.
to your point, Bo, I read it right out of BA, which is what they're zoned. The only thing it says, you can't shine lights at residential areas, which
That's
they're
what I-
clearly doing, right?
Exactly.
But other than that, I'm not sure the quantity of lights they have, the amount of lumens they're putting out, any of that violates any code we have, other than the fact they're lighting up those houses
So
across the street.
You may have to attack this a little piece at a time, starting with the residential piece and then the safety piece while you rewrite the code.
Well, I think what we're gonna run into right now is ideally, and I know we have talked about it, is that we take the Lake Asbury standards and make them countywide. Just make them countywide. The problem I think that we're gonna have with this, and Courtney might have an opinion on this, is SB 180 may stop us from doing that right now, because it's gonna be more restrictive if we do that. And that's sad, but I think that's what would happen, because this has to be written into, if you say Lake Asbury applies to the whole county, it has to go into the LDRs, and somebody in Tallahassee is gonna look at that and say, you can't do this, it's more restrictive because of SB 180. So, I don't really have a good solution other than we change the code, which I think is problematic right now. But I drive by this all the time, and every night I go by and I go, and over the years, it wasn't this bad. You know, I moved in that area, 40 years I've lived in that area, and it used to be a pretty typical little thing, and over the years, it's just gotten, seems like every year, like 5 more lights or 10 more lights go up.
They must be selling a lot of gas out of that two pump
Yeah.
Well,
thing, because that's expensive. That's not cheap.
Or their liquor bill.
Yeah,
that
I mean,
really-
it's just a good example of what we don't want, that's all.
Mr. Chair, if I could just follow up on some of Ralph's comments, and ask a question. What became of updating the LDRs? I know that there was some issues with it, but where does that stand?
So that's still on hold. First, we were not happy with the draft that we
Right.
were presented, so it's on us to redevelop a new draft.
Right.
And between staff shortages and SB 180, we're
Yeah.
kind of
So I'm
on.
not familiar with Senate Bill 180, I apologize, but
It's the one that basically was passed last year, Bill, and the gist of it says you can't do anything more restricted than what you have right now in any counties that were affected by the hurricanes 2 years ago. The problem is all 67 counties fall under that.
yeah.
So it's really a statewide.
So what was the
thing.
purpose of it? Is because you
Well,
were impacted by the hurricanes?
The builders said,
Watch your mouth.
we want to go back in, yeah, I know, but the builders said, we need to go back in and rebuild these areas, but the local governments are taking advantage of the fact we have to do a lot of building to change their codes. So we don't want to build under any different codes, so they essentially said you can't make anything more, I think the term that's in the law is more restricted than what exists. So if you put anything in that puts any additional requirement in there, then Tallahassee
From
just
now to
can't.
the end of time, I guess? I don't know.
Well, it was
We have to
supposed to
see.
last for 3 years, but I think it renews if we get another hurricane.
In
So,
Florida?
yeah.
So I would agree. I've always thought that it would, stronger, not less restrictive or more restrictive, but stronger, better. Commercial development codes are important, obviously, because we fought for what we got in Clay Hill. And I've often said, when Clay Hill is leading the pack on commercial development standards, the rest of the county should kind of,
Pay attention.
right. I mean, and I've lived there for 40 years and I love the place, obviously. But it seems interesting that we're going to have this really nice place, Lake Asbury. Let's have some good landscape standards, some good lighting standards, signage, et cetera, et cetera. For the rest of the county, go ahead and do whatever you want to do. And so is it possible, is that a pipe dream to think that at some point we would have a countywide commercial development standard that would mimic the Lake Asbury or the Brandon Field or even the Clay Hill?
No, it's not a pipe dream. It's
Okay.
just we need to be free to be able to adopt policies that are potentially restrictive, but I think one thing that's good to see is the other examples that Commissioner Puckhaber presented. Those are more recently built projects that have put in downlighting
Yeah.
and full cutoff luminaires. So the newer projects are definitely doing that.
Right,
think
because they're
so.
required to do it in other communities, and
Yeah,
so
well,
it doesn't matter if
they-
you're
they're
building in
doing
Greenville,
it, they're
South Carolina,
doing-
or wherever. When
I-
you come here, hey, we're using that set of plans, and these are
Yeah.
the lights we're using, and everybody else has to have downlighting.
Well, I think a lot of builders and developers appreciate that, to do it that way. The problem is, the regulations we do are never for probably most of the people who are doing what they should be doing. It's
Right.
for those outliers who you've got to kind of say you can't do what you're doing. So I agree with that. The newer projects, even some of the older projects, this one is a really egregious example, and that's why I used it. I think there were other buildings right within half a mile of that area that are very nicely done. Nice downlighting, they keep their lights low, that kind of thing. But we can't make anybody do that other than in most areas of the county. We can suggest it, and I know that staff does suggest it all the time, but we can't, force it on anybody.
The only thing I would add to it, I don't necessarily disagree with a countywide, although I would have a concern with affordability and what that does to the price. Lake Asbury is more affluent than maybe some other parts of the county. And to enact a broad sweeping requirement for what might be significant upgrades to part of the county will affect affordability, and that would be my concern.
I don't think it's very difficult to make anybody upgrade. But you can, going forward, make it a requirement. So if cost was a real big thing, I think you do need to take that into account. But I don't think, it's almost impossible to go back to someone and say, we don't like what you did, you need to change it, right? That's, but
Other
you.
than Orange Park, apparently.
Well, Orange Park has their own set of rules, but in general, you can't do that. But if you do put something in place going forward, and eventually everything starts to look better. I think we've seen that already where we have things like that, right?
You can drive, if you drive down Blandy Boulevard, and most of y'all probably do it all the time, you can tell where the Brandon Field Master Plan starts. The signage is different, the landscaping is different, and that's what I'm saying. You come out of, Nightbox Road area, come down into it, boom, it changes that new gas station, that new convenience store. It complies. You drive through that stretch, and you get south of the Brandonfield area into Middleburg proper, if you will, and boom, it goes right back up again. And so you get the new development. And Ralph is the light guy, I'm the sign guy. I hate the really tall, tacky signs. That is what led to pushing forward on the Clay Hill Master Plan. When they put that BP in, they had another sign. And you literally, and I get it, it's dark out there. A mile away, you can read the sign. I could stand at the end of my driveway and read the sign. Is that necessary? I don't think so. And if it had no sign, people would still buy gas there. So a monument sign is more than adequate, and it's less expensive. It's got to be. And it looks better. But anyway, I'm in full, strong support of updating the LDRs. I know there was an attempt to do it at some point. I don't know what y'all can do to make it happen, but I'll volunteer some of my time. I'm sure my wife would glad to be here then.
Yeah, I'm sure she would.
Me too. I mean, I'd be willing to sit on any workshops or anything that came up, things like that. I don't think, there's a limit. And you gotta realize staff is not, well, they're shorthanded right now. And when they're fully staffed, they're still shorthanded. So they're doing a good job, but I think part of our job as the planning commission is to give some suggestions like this from time to time, and hopefully they get taken into account when it's possible to take them into account.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask one more thing? Sure. Thank you, sir. Do you want to talk at all about the openings and the staff? Just to make it kind of, anybody who might be watching or viewing, certainly the commissioners may want to know what we have as far as open seats that we're looking for qualified individuals.
Sure, we have a zoning chief position that is open. It is advertised on the website right now. If anyone's interested, we're looking for someone with some good experience, planning degree. We also have a senior planner position, which is not currently posted, but that position's been open for a long time. So
you're 2 people short right now of being what you.
Yes.
And you could fill those if you had somebody? Because I know there was some talk that kind of, with the whole property tax thing, they weren't hiring.
Well, those are positions that are budgeted.
Okay.
So.
Thank you, Beth.
So I've looked at those. Are the requirements, are they hard to meet?
We got to be a planner.
I'm sure the chief is, but.
So we are looking for someone that's got planning experience, planning degree, some supervisory experience, because that would supervise 3 people. So we're just looking for the right candidate. We'll find them.
So do me a favor. I put my foot in my mouth a few weeks ago.
You gonna apply?
No. But educate me. Just, and like Mike said, for the people who are watching, the handful that may be watching, describe what your staff level is and that sort of thing. I know that sounds terrible. I'm on the planning commission, but how many people work in your department?
I think, wow, I've lost track of the count. I think we have 9 positions total.
Okay.
Planning and zoning staff. We do everything from reviewing landscape plans to Doty has the conservation program along with doing the comp plan and rezoning applications. The zoning chief would also do comp plan and rezoning applications as well as supervising the staff, which is the front line that answers all those questions, emails and phone calls for everything from what can I do with my site? Can I build a house on this property? takes someone that's interested in a little sleuth work, because there's a lot of times you have to do some digging to find out if a property is buildable. So it's looking for a detailed person.
So it's a total of 9 people currently,
Yes, I think it's 9,
With
right?
2
Nine
vacancies.
positions.
9 positions.
9 positions.
9
with
positions and
two of them
2 are
open.
open. So you have a 7-person staff right now.
Yes.
Okay.
Comment?
Sorry, 10, I think,
And Beth is the senior person in that staff.
this week.
That's not
He-
funny.
he-
I just
It
wanted
wasn't
to
funny last
ask,
month when I said it.
I just wanted to ask if Ms. Carson had an org chart she could share with us by email. That would be helpful.
I think we can put one together.
Thank you.
The way our workday program is, it breaks it apart into whoever you're supervising. So 3 of those people are not directly under me, they're under the zoning chief, so. Well,
Something that would help us remember what you just covered.
okay, we can do that.
Okay.
Thanks for
Uh,
listening to me, by the way, guys. I know I
No,
kept you here
bring
an
up
extra
you bring up a
25 minutes.
very valid point. What irritates me a lot of times is when you're driving down the road and one of these lights is shining right down the road and you're trying to see the road.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you feel like somebody's landing an airplane in your front. But our next meeting is April the 7th. Mary has told me that she will not be here because she's having cataract surgery.
Oh,
And
I gotta do that this
don't
year,
forget
too.
to change the clock on Sunday.
You bet.
Oh, that's right, Sunday.
Okay, anything else? All right, meeting's adjourned.
Great. Cataract, I gotta get that done this year, too.
Well, the emphasis for me was the big trip we've got coming up.
Yeah, whatever.
And then all of a sudden, it was worse, you know? You're done